Shout out to that bird. The other story, Tulsi Gabbard. Donald Trump has betrayed his base, and beyond his base, he is betraying America. He used Tulsi Gabbard in order to give this fake idea that he was a man of peace. He still has conned many people into believing that he's a man of peace that is just being maneuvered by the deep state as in comparison to being part of that deep state and accomplishing the objectives of that deep state in regards to the Middle East and largely beyond that in regards to empire. He was willing to use her, and now he is discarding her because she no longer serves his purposes. Trump is literally going against the government's own recommendation. Now, as I keep saying, this is not about nukes. So when Donald Trump is screaming nukes, 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 this has nothing to do about nukes. This is just the only thing his brain could come up with to try to create a justification and a pretext. And even that pretext is nonsense, but trying to create a pretext to attack unilaterally, unprovoked, another country. I want to play this clip of him putting a knife in Gabbard. And he is continuing to put a knife in Gabbard, effectively trashing the person he hired to give him intelligence and information on what is actually taking place in the world.
You've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon, but how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi Gabbard testified in March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close.
I don't care what she said. I don't care what the person I hired to do this job said. I don't care. I don't care. She can say anything. I don't care. I have a direct line to God and the neocon whack job Zionists that have given me a ton of money. I don't care what she says. Fuck America, right? Because that is effectively what he's saying. How many dead Americans are Donald Trump willing to come home in body bags? And will Donald Trump do the same thing that George Bush did, where he didn't want to show the caskets of dead Americans? Will he do that? As if not showing the caskets of dead Americans somehow makes them less dead. Newsflash, it does not. If Iran, who has the power, by the way, to sink your ships, to damage and decimate your military bases, to send oil $400 a barrel, if not higher. And what are you doing this for? We're not under a threat by Iran. This is something that Donald Trump is conjuring up every bit as much as George Bush conjured it up. This is about overthrowing another government, a regime change war. No more, no less. This is what he wants. And that is what he's coming up with some kind of pretext to do. Whether Israel went into that war knowing it was going to get beaten and scream for America, or whether it thought it could take down the Iranian government, both of those things are irrelevant. They're equal to exactly the same thing. A president that is not looking out for America's interests, that is now screaming that America first means whatever you want it to mean. No, it does not, sir. It does not. Words have meanings. Just because you now want to go in a particular direction that is repudiating the base that put you in office, it doesn't mean that those words and the meaning of those words change. He continues to put a knife in Tulsi Gabbard. He was out here today. They asked him again, and listen to what he had to say, once again, about the person he hired as D&I director.
So you have that Iran is building a nuclear weapon. Your intelligence community has said they have no evidence that they are at this point.
Well, then my intelligence community is wrong. Who in the intelligence community said that?
Your director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard.
She's wrong.
So you have...
She's wrong. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I know I hired her, but she doesn't know what she's talking about. Ain't that amazing? Ain't that amazing? To make it even worse, she seems to have been sidelined at this point. Now, Larry Johnson, who I would love to have on the show. So Larry, if you hear this, please send me a text back. He often gives fantastic analysis. Listen to what he says here. Effectively, Trump lied to that they're telling him it's a cakewalk. It'll be easy. We could take him down, blah, 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 blah. And Johnson's like, they don't know that. They're just telling him what he needs to tell him in order to get him to say yes, to get the U.S. involved into a war.
So we don't have even a clue exactly how many they have. However, the Trump is being advised, I've learned within the last hour before coming on air with you, that Iran is it's run out of missiles, or they're almost run out. And as soon as they run out, they're completely vulnerable and exposed.
Larry Johnson is like, we have no idea what Iran has at their disposal. And yet they're filling Trump's head up with, we can do it. It'll be easy. We'll be back by Christmas. It won't get us embroiled into a longer war. It'll be straightforward. They would hail us as liberators. Now, Trump is saying 2 weeks. Habitual liars lie. This could be trying to lull Iran into a false sense of security, like he did the first time around. And so you could imagine that Iran, taking the lesson, acknowledges habitual liars lie. This is Aragachi. He's been asked questions about Iran's take on this stuff. And he seemed to have come to the same conclusion that I have: habitual liars lie, and that you can't necessarily believe anything coming out of their mouth. This is Aragachi. Let's flip this, and this.
Diplomacy produce a solution in 2 weeks?
Well, I think it's up to Americans, the United States, I mean, to show their determination for going for a negotiated solution, or they have something else in their mind and they want to attack Iran anyway. So they had perhaps this plan, and they just needed negotiations, perhaps, to cover it up. We don't know how we can trust them anymore. What they did was, in fact, a betrayal to diplomacy.
Yes. Rational man. These people are liars. They tried to lull us into a false sense of security the first time around, which ended up getting nearly 100 people killed and some leadership. And now he's saying 2 weeks in order to resolve something that they didn't start. Why would we trust them in any of this process? We are going to finish what we started. And so, no, you can't trust them. How could you, right? They lied about Minsk. They lied about this. They lied about Gaza. They got rid of the JCPOA the first time around. Hell, Trump came in with a tariff war and effectively ripped up any agreements that he had before with many other countries in general. How can you trust somebody that is fundamentally and radically dishonest? That's the question. That is what he's effectively answering. They may have something else in their minds. The U.S. may just be using quote-unquote diplomacy as a fig leaf in order to come up with an attack. I kept saying these negotiations were nonsense. They were never real. And it seems that they've come to the same conclusion. I've also said that Iran will have to take its respect at the barrel of a gun in the way that Russia had to take its respect at the barrel of a gun. I don't say that because I'm a warmonger. I don't say it because I like it. I say it because it seems to be just obviously true. I even pointed out that they may have to deal in strikes first before anything could get accomplished, because again, they would have to take their respect at the barrel of a gun. This is not because they want to do that. All things being equal, they would want to be able to deal with people on equal level, but dealing with somebody on an equal level assumes and requires that they look at you as an equal. It took Putin, Russia, to kill nearly 1 million Ukrainians for the world to acknowledge, holy shit, I guess we have to deal with them on equal terms. For better or for worse, Iran is in the same position. And what they're doing now with dismantling Israel, piece by piece, is their way of doing that. The catch becomes what happens when America gets involved. And all hell breaks loose when America does. The world is about to fall off its axis. And it's Donald Trump's fault, U.S. policy's fault, U.S. thinking in regards to this idea that we're somehow exceptional human beings just because we're just exceptional human beings. This Nazi-esque view of oneself is nonsense. If that wasn't necessarily put to bed in Ukraine after losing miserably, or in Afghanistan after losing miserably, I don't know what else it's going to take. Or Vietnam after losing miserably. And I suppose we need to limp our way, apparently, to Iran with an inflated sense of superiority. Okay, fair enough. The Israelis thought that they were God's chosen people. And God's chosen people right now are hiding in sewers. That's what they're doing. They're hiding in sewers. God's chosen people. There's that. There's that. So, this is a conflict that never needed to take place. But it seems like it's a conflict that will take place. The attack on Iran, I would argue, is imminent. I don't know that as a flat fact, so I'm not saying it that way. But if Seymour Hersh is right, and Seymour Hersh tends to be a damn good reporter, this attack is coming. Whether it takes Donald Trump 2 weeks to get his forces arranged and everything else in order to set that attack up, or whether the 2 weeks is just chum in the water, like most things that are in U.S. media, uncritically put out, in order to create space, or let's say confusion, for when the attack actually takes place. We don't tend to announce our attacks, which is why the 2 weeks thing just seems weird. We'll see. We'll see. All right. I'm going to end this. I'm going to say like. I'm going to say share. I'm going to say subscribe. If any military action takes place over the weekend, you will probably see me. If not, I will see you guys Monday morning, bright and early. You guys have a phenomenal, it's nighttime. Have a phenomenal night. Be safe. I'll see you soon. Signing off. Have a good one all.